Hello again, nerds. So yesterday I uploaded this video. We're going to redo the video entirely because apparently my OBS was freaking out and I was trying to just get it up as fast as possible. I didn't go back and rewatch and see that it was herky-jerky until this morning, so now we're redoing it. My apologies if you've already watched this, but this is the ultimate breakdown of that story mode trailer that we got 2 days ago now from NetherRealm Studios for Mortal Kombat 11. Super excited about this. Let's jump into it. I need to switch us over and then play this bad boy. So we're going to play the trailer. I'm going to do a little bit of commentary over the top of it. Then we're going to revisit portions of this trailer because there's a lot of misconceptions. We're going to be debunking some rumors. We're going to be addressing some misconceptions, and let's just get right into this.
I am Kronika, keeper of time. I guide the destiny of the realms. But my work's perfection has been tainted by Raiden's actions. I enlist
Definitely going to be addressing some of that stuff in the first.
By merging past and present, we may draw upon allies from both eras. I offer a greater empire in the
Yes.
Your outworld armies defend it.
Talking about this shot right here.
We have common cause.
Talking about that conversation between Kotal and Raiden. That shot with the souls and the monks.
Can't someone, anyone, explain to me what
Probably not going to be talking about two Johnnies, though the two Johnnies is pretty awesome. Looking himself up on IMDb in the future just to see if he's still famous. Love it, love it. The music track is pretty good too. I feel like they're making some headway, doing better music choices than they have been. Though the Mortal Kombat 9 music was pretty epic. And yes, Scorpion, because he's amazing. We will be talking about this scene here with the Elder Gods, for sure.
Every being will be erased in a temporal Armageddon.
That right there,
Kronika's key and
with Raiden shocking, that is Shao Kahn, but we'll talk about that.
only then will time's momentum be
We'll
restored.
be talking about the explosion. Well, I'm not talking about this bad voice acting. It's just too bad. But the explosion at the end here. We're going to be talking about Raiden's lightning blades because lightning.
As my strength gathers, the new era draws ever closer.
That explosion where you see the palace is going down. That's what we're talking about. All right. So that's, yeah. We've seen it. We know what's up. Okay. So there's a lot of stuff going on. First off, we're going to be addressing this. So in this shot, which is at the beginning of the video, we see this palace, which we're presuming is the NetherRealm palace. This is where Dark Lu and Dark Katana are set up shop. This is where they are ruling the NetherRealm from, and we're seeing it being rebuilt. Now, because this is a trailer, there is not... It's not showing us things in chronological order. It is showing us things to make us hype about the game. Absolutely. But there's no way this is in chronological order because we get here, if I can pull up the time code. Too far. We get here. The explosion of the palace right here. Sorry, I messed up my time code. But so this explosion happens first. Now, for the story mode, we're going to be getting, for any story ever told, really, in modern time, so basically every movie you've watched, literally almost every story, you know, there's 3 sections to it when you're talking about the overarching story. You have the initiating action. There's a bunch of different terms for all of this, but basically you have the initiating action. This is set up. This is where everything that's going to happen in the movie gets discussed and talked about. You have rising action and the climax, which is what everything is building to, and then you have the resolution. So there's 3 acts is how it's referred to. The end of the first act of story mode, so probably if this is going to be 8 to 10 hours of gameplay, probably 2 hours or so into the game will likely be the end of the first act, which will probably be like 5-6 chapters into the story. That's where this explosion is going to be happening. Then, to start Act 2, we're going to see this. And this is where Kronika comes in. She's going to be talking with Lou. Get that screen back. She's going to be talking with Lou. We see Lou and Katana here. And take a moment, because this is a beautiful image. The new character builds, the new character models are amazing. So this is where Kronika is going to introduce herself, because it would seem that Lou and Katana are defeated. And then Kronika is going to come in and she's going to rally her troops, as it were. We're going to go through and be introduced to all of the characters. And I love that we get confirmation of a lot of the... Oh, here, Dark Raiden. Confirmation of of a few, rather, of the leaked characters. So this element also factors into what we're seeing here with Dark Raiden. Dark Raiden was established at the end of MKX. So here, this is very likely going to be the first cinematic, even, of story mode. This is not... Dark Raiden is not going to factor into the story for very long. We see him punishing, torturing, whatever, Shinnok. This is also, I feel like, how they're going to justify having Shinnok in the game, though I don't believe he's going to be a major factor in story. They're just going to have him in there because he is a fan favorite, I guess, though I don't really hear a lot of people calling out for Shinnok. But... this is going to be their justification for having him in here. I don't know how they're going to work in Shang Tsung and Melina as far as unlockables, but we're going to get to at least Shang Tsung. Melina, there's really no reference to her in this, but people are thinking there's a reference to Shang Tsung, but we're going to address that when we get there. So again, Dark Raiden, even in this trailer, the majority of the times we see Raiden, it's good Raiden. Now, if that's Raiden from the past, or if that's current Raiden, or if Raiden from the past defeats himself, none of that is really known, but good Raiden is going to be the biggest factor. My money says that they're going to have Dark Raiden for the first third of the game. He's going to be the part of the inciting action, and then whatever happens in Act 2, he's going to turn back to Light Raiden. I think there might be some time travel elements involved with his character development, but by and large, it's going to be the same Raiden. He's just going to go from dark to light. Anyway, so that's that point. Because again, and we see him again later in the trailer where he's fighting with the lightning blades, and we're going to even want lightning blades. Hashtag lightning blades in Mortal Kombat 11. But yeah, he's not going to be a big factor. When we see him battling all of those demons in the Netherrealm, that is also very likely from the first act of this game. So yeah, just keep that stuff in mind. And then here we get the awesome introductions. I love that they've implemented his chest plate into the MK3 design. So awesome. There, that's the shot that I wanted. So, Shao Kahn. We are going to talk about Shao Kahn for just a moment. And very specifically, in this screen, pay attention to his arm. So, Shao Kahn is canon. Let's start there. Shao Kahn is canon in this game. Why is Shao Kahn canon in this game? Well, because they wanted to. But no, more seriously, he's going to be the first DLC character that is the first, quote unquote, because if you want to stretch it, Goro was technically canon for parts of the story leading up to Mortal Kombat X. So that was their justification for Goro in the game was, well, he factors pretty hardcore in the comics that we're doing to tell the story, bridging the gap between 9 and 10. So let's put him in the game and have him as the pre-order DLC. For Shao Kahn, though, because we are doing time travel, this is the first time that he's that we have a DLC character that is actually in story mode proper. So that's really interesting. But we also have the wonderful issue of, and I'm going to see if I can't pull this up. Let's just do it this way. I'm going to show you. This is the. I need to switch up a couple of things, but this is the. There we go. That's the leak roster, right? So let's go to Shao Kahn. And we're going to switch back because you can't really see it in that view. But there we go. Shao Kahn. So that's our Shao Kahn, right? We have Shao Kahn. We have... Later in the video, he looks like this. And so I've seen people say that this could be Quan Chi. Obviously, this is not Quan Chi. I've also heard people say that this... and specifically calling out Dynasty. I'm sorry, Dynasty. This is not I'm not confronting you. I'm not trying to fight. But I feel like you got this part wrong. So the skin looks different. That's one of the reasons why Dynasty doesn't think this is Shao Kahn, because skin looks lighter. Well, he's covered in lightning, and the way their character builds are, the lightning definitely... The lightning throws light, so it's lighting up his skin. It's coloring his skin, but you can see here in like his ribs and the hand. I'm going to go back to that other Shao Kahn. The hand, his hands look like that. Take a look at those hands there. His hands look like that. So again, back over here to the other Shao Kahn. So that hand, but the most telling thing is he's wearing the helmet. And again, Dynasty was like, well, he's wearing Shao Kahn's helmet, but I don't think that's Shao Kahn. That's Shao Kahn's helmet. We can obviously see that's Shao Kahn's helmet. You can see the teeth here, the eye holes, the really awesome Shogun headwear. And then, so that's obvious. We'll switch back. Obviously, Shao Kahn's helmet. And Shao Kahn's shoulder, we can still see the shoulder braces here, the shoulder pads, I guess. We can see that wicked spike there. Wicked spike. All right, cool. Now, pay attention to his chest and his belt. Yeah, chest and belt. Looks pretty identical. That's Shao Kahn. If you're questioning, and I don't think you should be, but if you were questioning, that is absolutely Shao Kahn. So... back to this. Haha. So we're going this way. Next, we're going into Sands of Time. We get Good Liu before his second death, because if you remember, not only did he die in the story mode for Mortal Kombat 9, that's why he's a Revenant in X, but the story mode in that's right. But he also died once before in Deadly Alliance, and it's the old timeline, but still it counts. So, Good Raiden, again, featured super heavily. This is our next bit to talk about. So we have, this is the Coliseum, Shao Kahn's Coliseum, the arena, maybe. This is super duper featured in a bunch of games. First, see it in Mortal Kombat 2, where you're fighting in front of this throne. You have Kano on one side and Sonya on the other. So that was our first time seeing it. The last time we saw it was in Mortal Kombat 9. But I like how we have these callbacks to Mortal Kombat Armageddon, because this was a death trap down here in Mortal Kombat Armageddon. This over here was part of the scenery, so I love that they're keeping that stuff in. So, but let's take a little bit different look at this and see that obviously something's about to happen. And all of these people are still standing. But what we have here is we have Kodal, which we can see because that right there is his crazy blade. And then the other characters that we can identify, we have probably Cassie, we have Raiden, Kung Lao, and then the two that are a little bit more difficult to pick out. I believe this could be Sonya and this could be Cassie right here, right where my mouse is pointing. They could be interchangeable. I don't think it's going to be anybody else. Maybe Cassie and Jackie, perhaps. But then this person here between this shorter female and Kung Lao is Liu Kang. And we're going to see all of this here in a minute. Well, we're going to see some of this here in a minute with that conversation between Kodal and Raiden. So skipping forward, this part, there's a couple of bits that we're going to address here. Specifically, I just passed it. There we go. So here we see the Collector. Now, again, we have the leak. We know that this is the Collector. We can take a look at. Let me pull it up. 1 second. We can take a look at the leak roster one more time. And transition. Oh, wait, no. I gotta line up the Collector's face. There we go. So if we take a look at this, you've got the Collector very square in the center of your screen. So that compared to this, yes, those are the same person. So we know that this is the Collector. Now, what we don't know is really anything about the Collector. We see that he's got 4 arms. So I had a conversation with somebody on Twitter about how he might be Shokan, like Goro or Kentaro or Shiva, and that's not bloody likely because his build is completely different. He's shorter in stature. He's blue. We've never seen a blue Shokan. But he does have 4 arms. And so we've got one singular shoulder joint for both sets of arms. That sets them apart. We have a elbow spike on this set of arms. And what's really interesting is the 2 sets look rather different. So it looks like this set of arms is his primary everyday, like a person kind of use. But this set of arms, if you kind of take a look, and I wish I had a way to zoom this while we're doing this live like this, but if you take a look here, it looks like there might be like some sort of crazy hand that's like webbed or something. So maybe there's wings attached to these arms. Maybe he can fly. I don't think that, I mean, it's possible, but I don't think that's likely. The other rumor about Collector is that he's from the Chaos Realm. And that one I don't believe either. There is too much unity. There's too much uniformity to the way he looks. We see, again, you can split him down the center and everything's pretty balanced. So that kind of goes against it because the only other person we know that's from Chaos Realm is Havoc. Havoc is not balanced in his character design, so that's not likely. He is wearing adornments that kind of resemble some of the tribal stuff that we're going to see here in a minute. So that makes me think that he's just an outworld inhabitant. His race was taken over by Outworld. Wherever his race is from, whatever world his race is from, was taken over by Outworld at some point. Or maybe he's Outworld native. Maybe his race and the Tarkatan are the only Outworld natives. We don't know, but what we can infer rather seriously, we can infer very safely is that he's not from the Chaos Realm, even though that is the rumor. So the next one, and I already kind of showed it. I passed it. Come on, Mia. There we go. The next one is this screen. We get, and I didn't want to believe it for a long time, but this right here is our first look at Frost. Now, if we go back to, 1 second, if we go back to the leak, and take a look at Frost there, we can see she's bald. And now in the last video where we're talking about leaks, and I said, well, it's very likely this isn't the final render, so she'll probably have hair. I don't think she's going to get hair. I think, yes, there will be a version you can add hair to her character design because the customizations are crazy in this game, and it is fully possible that it is fully possible that we will be seeing everyone's classic looks, Frost included. So that part, if you're a Frost fan, I would not worry too much about. But I think in story mode, she is very much going to be bald. And so the reason I don't think, because at first I thought this was Centurion. Like that was absolutely, I thought this person here was Centurion. And I had a couple of Twitter conversations about it. But if you take a look, you can see her mask. That is obviously the same mask that she's wearing here. So yes, this is Frost. Yes, she is bald. And the reason she is bald is because if you take a look at Garrus, and then you take a look at Kronika, they're bald. And if she's falling in line with them, she's an early disciple. If Kronika is the one that got her out of the ice that Sub-Zero left her in from Mortal Kombat X, some reason she's fallen super hard in with Kronika. And so she's lost the ice hair. I think it's a bogus look. I'm not super stoked on the way she looks, though I am super excited to see what kind of stuff we're going to get as far as her gameplay goes. So that is Frost. This is our next bit. So next we're going to be talking about this, and whoa, my stuff is not. No. There, okay. And this we've got right here. So if you remember this little guy from Mortal Kombat 3, you'll see the Soul NATO inside of it. And if you remember in Mortal Kombat 9, we got some Soul NATO action there. That's where Noob Saibot got sucked up into when he fought Scorpion. Green does not indicate a character unless you're talking about skin type, and then you're talking about reptile. But by and large, green like this does not indicate a character. What it does indicate is souls being used or stolen or something along those lines. So I've heard people say, oh, this is confirmation that the Ermac is in the game, or this is confirmation that Shang Tsung is going to be in story mode. And no, it's really not. This is confirmation that probably Shao Kahn is draining souls so that he can get stronger, because Shao Kahn created the Soul NATO. Shao Kahn created Ermac, who is made of souls. That's why Ermac has that green aura. It's because he's made out of souls. So this does not indicate that Shao Kahn, or Shang Tsung rather, is going to be playable in the game necessarily at all. We did get the leak that he is going to be an unlockable character. Maybe this is the portion of story mode where that gets unlocked, if even they're unlocked through story mode. But this does not show Shang Tsung at work. This also does not show Ermac at work. My money says this shows Shao Kahn at work. And we're moving on. Next is this. So I want to talk about this, and again, I'm sorry I don't have the and this factors into what we're talking about. So that shot back here, this right here, looks like the Mortal Kombat 2 tower in a lot of ways. Looks like kind of like the MK9 tower in some ways too, and that's the MK9 dragon. So I mean, there you go. But what I'm feeling is this is all story mode. This is all. I mean, obviously it's story mode, but I feel like there's going to be conquest elements of story mode, because what we get here is a really interesting fight between Kotal and living Jade. This is old past Jade maybe. So Kotal and Jade fighting these crazy like beetle things. If I can get a good, fighting these crazy beetle things. I think this is lending itself to clues that we're going to see some Conquest-esque elements to story mode. Maximilian Dude, for those of you who don't know, is a fantastic fighting game streamer. Go check out his channel, Dude, spelled D-O-O-D. So Maximilian got to play a little bit of story mode. He is keeping his lips sealed as to thematic elements because he'll be the first to tell you he didn't really get to play much of story mode, but he did get to play a little bit. So I honestly think there's going to be conquest elements. I don't think we're going to see a full-blown story and conquest mode, but I think story is going to resemble conquest in certain areas. Also, that is echoed later, and we'll get to it when we scroll through, but later when we see Cassie Cage and Raiden walking in those tranquil fields or whatever, I think that it comes from story mode as well, which also has conquest elements. So what we're talking about now is the Elder Gods and Centurion. So these are the Elder Gods. 1, 2, you can't really see it, but if you pay attention when the video's playing, there's another circle back here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Elder Gods. These are Elder Gods. They are nothing other than Elder Gods. Centurion is not in this interaction. This is not where we see Centurion, though. This Dynasty thought this was Centurion from behind. I can understand why. If you take a look at the hair, let's go back to the... We're going to go back to the leak. So if you take a look at that hair and you take a look at the broken stuff that's kind of floating around this Elder God's head, then we go take a look at Centurion from the leak, and you can see similar looking hair, broken things floating around the head. The reason I don't think that this Elder God is Centurion is because it's never been a thing that we can play as an Elder God, save for Shinnok, because he is a fallen Elder God. And I guess technically Raiden, if you pay attention to lore really, really closely, Raiden was an Elder God for a hot minute too. So I can't say 100% that this isn't Centurion because there are those two exceptions. I feel like those are minor exceptions and only in the smallest technical way, because Shinnok was not an Elder God when he was playable, neither was Raiden, and Kronika is potentially more powerful than an Elder God, or her power exists outside of the power of the Elder Gods, something along those lines, and she's not going to be playable in this game. So I think Centurion is like an avatar for this Elder God. Like, there's going to be a connection between them for sure, because those design qualities are not just coincidence. But is this Centurion? No, I really don't think so. So our next thing... We already talked about Shao Kahn. Here we go. So this is, like I said, I think this is going to be from story mode a la a conquest sequence. There's going to be sections of story mode that are going to be like conquest. The whole thing is not going to be like conquest mode from back in the day because they're trying to get to a specific point. They can't just have an open sandbox world like we got. As cool as that would be, as awesome as that would be, and I would love that, that's not their style these days. It's not to say that they won't bring it back in future games. I just don't think this is the game that's bringing it back. And then we have this little guy here. People have been saying all manner of things about this. I heard today that potentially this is Jax, though I feel like it's been proven this is Hanzo. If you look at his character model in the next scene where we actually see him, it looks really damn similar. We're not going to touch on that too much because I believe also this is Hanzo, but it could be anybody. There's really nothing that tells us absolutely 100% this is Hanzo. So we can't, everything is just a guess or an inference. So, bad acting. Hanzo. Well, okay, there we go. just so happens to I just picked it up. But yeah, you can see the hairline's the same, forehead's the same. We got the same crease in the brow. That was Hanzo. Because yes, Scorpion, please. And then here is my next cool thing that we got to talk about. Oh, we just passed it. There we go. Look at this. Oh, look at this. We got weapons for Raiden. If you pay attention to this sequence in the video, he's not holding these weapons. His hand is like this, and it's coming out of his hand. So I wonder if this is going to be if any of his fighting is going to cause these to come out, or if this is going to be just a weapon he has. It's really fun to guess, but we don't know. It's just a really, really cool looking sequence. Again, see, look, you can see his hands are both open, but there's a blade extending from them that he is just mowing through these demons. I love it. I love it. I love it. Jackie taking out a demon. Love it. And then we're to this. So in Brusque Poet's video, he equated this smoke to the, if you remember the trailer, the game trailer for Mortal Kombat Armageddon, there's a similar shot. There is a faction of Mortal Kombat fans that, and Brusque Poet addressed it in his video, said that this looks like it could be them recreating Armageddon. Yes, I think this is an homage. I don't think that they're going to redo Armageddon. I think there's going to be some callbacks to that game here, because obviously we're playing with time. Obviously we're playing with a giant roster that's got people from throughout the history of Mortal Kombat. I think, though, we're going to see in story mode, it's going to be averted in ways that it wasn't averted when we initially got to Armageddon. So not likely going to see a lot of repeat, just some callbacks to Armageddon. But yeah, see, we see them all running out. But again, this is Dark Raiden, so this is probably from the first act of the game. We see Cassie, Jackie, unnamed Marines. Very, very likely this is from the first act of the game, so not going to be a major factor in the overall story. Again, we've talked about that guy. I love this fatality. It's so epic. We're not going to play through it, though. I love Cassie's finishing blow, or fatal blow, rather. So awesome. Shoots her through the kneecaps. So crazy. So yes, that is the ultimate breakdown. Debunking some rumors, guys. What did I miss? Let me know. Let's have that conversation down low in the comments. What should we go over in the next video? Let me know in the comments down low. There is a website, generallynerdy.net. You can go find all of the freebies, all of the everything up on there. If you like what I'm trying to do here on the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up. If you dislike it, there's a thumbs down button too. You can press that if you want, but I ain't mad at you if you do. And that brings us to the very, very end. And the Patreon, patreon.com/generallynerdy. But before we go to the Patreon, the website, generallynerdy.net, all that jazz, guys, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here, and we love our Mortal Kombat.